And happy Friday, everyone. My name is meteorologist Heather Kane. It's time for a daily hail forecast, sponsored as always by C3 Group, Merlin Law Group, American Contractor Show, as well as Atlas Roofing. Thank you guys, as always, for sponsoring our video. So it's going to be quite a detailed show for you guys as we go through today and the rest of the next few days. It looks like it could potentially get quite active across the U.S. We are already seeing some storms in parts of Texas as well as Nebraska. Will DFW see hail today? Well, we will talk about those chances in just a few moments. And then as we get into tomorrow, that second shortwave trough will be moving on in and giving us another shot for severe weather as we go into tomorrow and into Sunday. So we'll talk about what areas that we'll be watching for that. And then as we get into Sunday, like I said, that second storm system will bring more severe weather to parts of the country. So let's take a look at our storm reports from yesterday. You can see that we have quite a few storm reports, especially hail in western Kansas, a few scattered reports here in the western part of the U.S. as well as down here in parts of central Oklahoma and western Texas. So we're going to zoom on in here a little bit. Basically, some of the southwestern parts of South Dakota near Rapid City, we saw some severe hail there yesterday. The panhandle of Nebraska, and then again, plenty of hail reports here in western Kansas and a few scattered ones here in southern Nebraska and eastern Kansas. And then moving on down south, no real severe hail happened in Oklahoma yesterday, but we did have a few high wind reports that came in early this morning, as well as a weak tornado just to the west of I think is Bell Acres, west of Shawnee. So a few scattered reports there, and then into the panhandle of Texas. So here are our current conditions across the lower 48. We have a low pressure situated near the Nebraska-Kansas border. Cold front to the west of Oklahoma City down into central Texas, and a warm front near basically the northern part of Kansas, central Missouri, and into the southeast. So this corridor today, this is where we're going to be watching for severe weather. We're going to zoom right into the southern part of the risk first. You can see some storms heading towards the DFW area already this early afternoon. We have a tornado warning, basically maybe an hour or so south of Dallas. A tornado watch is out for this yellow box here until 6 p.m. Central Time. Some more storms moving into eastern Oklahoma and into Arkansas. And moving on to the north, you can see where that low is situated, how it's spinning counterclockwise. A tornado warning is present in central Nebraska as well. So we'll be watching this area as well as we continue through the rest of the day today and tonight. Zooming on out, taking a look at our temperatures. We're close to 80 here in Oklahoma City, 74 in Dallas, 79 in Houston. Those 70s continue to be present here in the southern U.S. Behind that storm system, much cooler. It's only 48 in Minneapolis and 63 in Denver. So you can see where that upper level low is situated right now, just spinning here in the middle of the country. In terms of dew points, it's starting to get a bit sticky. Dallas nearing 70 for a dew point, so that humidity and that uncomfortable feeling as you go outside is definitely there. Wichita a bit better, where we have a 58-degree dew point, 67 for a dew point down in New Orleans. So that moisture is coming up from the Gulf of Mexico. just one of the ingredients needed for severe storms to develop. So here's our significant hail model. This is stopping at 1 p.m. this afternoon. Those brighter colors indicate where the potential for large hail will be present. So as we go through this afternoon, stopping at 6 p.m. this evening, you can see those brighter colors start to push off to the east a bit, near Omaha, Des Moines, that city right there, down to Tulsa, Dallas. We'll be watching you guys very carefully as we get through this evening. And then as we go into tomorrow morning, you can see with that second trough moving on in, we're going to see that moisture reset, and therefore the instability will reset as well, and therefore large hail will be possible starting potentially pretty late morning into the early afternoon hours. And then as we get later in the afternoon, stopping at 5, you can see those brighter colors even starting to get into the reds here, start showing up in Kansas, Oklahoma, and down into the Dallas area. And then even increasing more as we get into late evening tomorrow, and then decrease overnight as we get into our Sunday. And then this is our tornado perimeter. This shows the areas where we could potentially see those strong tornadoes today and into tomorrow. Again, brighter colors here indicate those higher probabilities. So we could see a few tornadoes today, basically from Omaha all the way down to Tulsa, Dallas, eastward into parts of western Arkansas. And they stick around through this evening and then start to taper off as we go into the overnight hours as we lose that heat of the day. But then as we get into tomorrow, with that second system moving on in, those colors start to rebound. And I'm, as a weather nerd, I'm going to be, a little concerned, of course, about Wichita, Oklahoma City, down to near Dallas. Those colors are already starting to get a bit bright here by 5 p.m. tomorrow evening, and they really start to increase as we get later on into the evening here. So make sure if you're a homeowner that you have your plans in place. Tomorrow could potentially be a very busy day. We have to see what happens with this first system and then see what happens tomorrow morning, as there could be some rain. We'll get to those radar shots in just a second. But those brighter colors last even through the overnight hours on Saturday into Sunday. So again, potentially a very busy few days in terms of severe weather in the U.S. So here is this is again one particular model, one run of that model, stopping it at 12:30 this afternoon. Again, storms are expected to continue to fire up here in Nebraska, in Iowa, down into Missouri. And as we go through the rest of this afternoon, you can see some individual cells here trying to fire up in parts of Nebraska. So we'll be watching Omaha, and then later on in the evening, keeping an eye on Des Moines as well, and maybe as far west as that city right there. I will not say it. I know you guys there in that city don't like us saying it out loud. We don't want to jinx you. Anyway, so as we go through the rest of this evening, more storms are expected to fire up here in Iowa, all the way down into Missouri, eastward into Illinois. We could potentially see some marginally severe hail as far east as Chicago and northward into Green Bay. And then as we continue through the overnight hours tonight into tomorrow morning, that severe threat will drop off significantly. So again, this evening into, late this evening will be the best chance to see those strong to severe storms. Then moving on down south, we will see some new storm development fire here in eastern Oklahoma. Dallas, you're already getting some storms in your region right now. And as we go through the rest of this afternoon, this is stopping at 4, you can see some more storms are expected to fire up here as we go through this afternoon. And even at 7 p.m., more storms may fire up in the DFW area. So multiple rounds possible in basically Dallas down to just north of Austin. That's going to be the best area for Texas for today. And then as we go through the overnight hours, those storms should diminish. But as we get into tomorrow, I'll talk about that in just a few moments. We could see some more significant storms. So let's start out with today. This is the area that we'll be watching for that large hail, starting up north, where I think the best chances are for today associated with that low pressure system. Low chance in Sioux Falls, moderate chance basically from the Omaha area, Des Moines, that city right there, and then even a moderate chance as we get into St. Louis, and then Tulsa, a low end chance here in Little Rock, and we have that moderate chance again here for a very large hail, 2 to 2.5 inches in diameter in Dallas, and then a low end chance maybe as far south as San Antonio. And then for our winds, basically those same areas, 60 to 70 mile per hour wind gusts are possible from Des Moines, Kansas City, I'll say it because it's wind. St. Louis, we have that moderate chance for those severe winds there, a low end chance in Sioux Falls. Moderate chance for severe winds in Tulsa as well as Dallas, and then a low end risk as those storms move east as we get into Little Rock and as far south as potentially San Antonio. And then for the tornado risk, we do have that moderate chance to see some tornadoes here in parts of Nebraska and Des Moines, where I think that's going to be the highest chance to see those tornadoes today, again associated where that low pressure is situated. Low end chance elsewhere from Kansas City, Tulsa, Little Rock, and down to Dallas. Now, getting into tomorrow, it's going to be a bit interesting to see what happens. There may or may not be some storms developing and moving on through tomorrow morning, and we'll see what those potential storms do to our atmosphere as we go through tomorrow morning and into the early afternoon hours. This is stopping at noon tomorrow. Some storms may be firing here in the Oklahoma City area. And then as we go through the rest of the afternoon, you can see more storms firing here in the Oklahoma City area down to just west of Dallas. And then as we go through the rest of tomorrow, this is stopping at 7. You can see some individual cells here trying to fire up in central Oklahoma near the Red River Valley. So we'll be watching this area very, very carefully. And you can see even as we get into tomorrow later in the evening, more storms are expected to develop here. And then just lights up like a Christmas tree, basically, stopping it at 2 a.m. Basically late Sunday morning, Sunday statistically at 2 a.m. And then those will push off to the east as we begin our day on Sunday. So we'll see what that morning convection does. If we get that convection, that will kind of stabilize the atmosphere a bit. If nothing happens, it'll basically make a more interesting day tomorrow. Let's just keep it at that. So as we get into tomorrow for the northern part of our risk area, stopping at 2 central, some storms will be going on in parts of southeastern Kansas. And then as we get into tomorrow evening, stopping at 5, just to the southwest of Omaha, near KC, and into parts of Iowa and into northern Missouri. We'll be watching for storms to fire up there. And then you can see just widespread potentially of some storms from Nebraska to Kansas to Missouri, eastward into Illinois, up to maybe as far north as Green Bay. So, and just going into late Saturday into early Sunday at 2 a.m., those storms will keep on going. A big old mess there. At the very least, there's going to be a lot of rain falling with this system. So let's break it on down for tomorrow. Again, large area that we're going to be watching. I even put some purple on this one for tomorrow. Zooming on into the southern risk first, I think we have a moderate chance to see some storms in Dallas tomorrow. I think better chances west of you guys, though. Low end chance for San Antonio. A high chance for that large hail up to potentially baseballs. We'll see what happens for Oklahoma City up to Wichita. And eastward to Fort Smith, we could see some golf balls there. And then moving on to the north, again, Wichita, high-end chance to see some very large hail tomorrow. in Omaha, Des Moines, Kansas, I almost said it, KC, we could see some very large hail there as well, and maybe some quarters as far east as Green Bay, Chicago, down to St. Louis, and maybe parts of lower Michigan as well. Although I think by then, when the storms move in tomorrow, late evening, the severity of those storms should be on the lower end, if they're even still severe at all. So then in terms of our winds, same area, 60 to 70 mile per hour wind gusts will be possible from San Antonio, possibly as far south as San Antonio, moderate chance. In Dallas, a higher chance for those winds. In Oklahoma City, low end for Fort Smith, and then a high end probabilities here in Wichita, and moderate for Omaha, Des Moines, Kansas City, and then again, a low end chance. We'll see how those storms are going late tomorrow evening into the overnight on Sunday. St. Louis, Chicago, and Green Bay. And then lastly, for tomorrow, I do have a pretty large area for possible tornadoes. I am keeping things as, just keeping them moderate. Just make sure if you're in this region that you guys have ways to get to those warnings. It could potentially be a very active day tomorrow. So low end chance for a tornado in as far south as San Antonio, Dallas, and then a moderate chance here in Oklahoma City, Wichita, and Kansas City, as well as Omaha, Des Moines, and then a low-end chance in Chicago and Green Bay. So here is our jet stream, first system that is still ongoing for today. Set up in the middle of the U.S. You can see where that low pressure is going to be situated. That'll be moving off to the northeast as we get into tomorrow, and here comes that second short wave bringing in that energy for tomorrow, and then it starts to basically strengthen as we get into late tomorrow evening, and then getting into Sunday, tracks off to the northeast, and then enters Canada as we get into our Monday. And then in terms of our dew points, again, plenty of moisture that's going to be present over the next few days. Getting into tomorrow, we start to see those darker shades of green. So that means that atmosphere has plenty of moisture in it. So moisture is not really going to be a big issue tomorrow, and then Sunday, not as impressive, but moisture will still be present, basically from parts of eastern Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, all the way up to potentially as far north as Chicago. Again, we'll be watching you guys. And then we may have to see what happens as we get into the beginning of the next week for a reset. But we're just going through Sunday right now. We don't want to get too far ahead. So as we go through this evening, that instability, it will be there. And then as we get into late tonight, you can see those values start to drop off a bit. But then as we get into tomorrow, those brighter colors indicate lots of instability is going to be present in the atmosphere. So again, it could potentially be an active day today, but also, tomorrow and getting into Sunday, getting into late Saturday and into Sunday, those values start to creep back up a bit, and then they start to dwindle as we get into Monday. So we already talked about today, and then getting into tomorrow, and then as we get into Sunday, with that second storm system, we will have a chance to see some severe weather, basically from very southern parts of Minnesota and Wisconsin down into Des Moines, once again, St. Louis, KC, Tulsa, Little Rock, all the way down to Dallas. So some of the same areas may potentially get a few days worth of severe weather. Again, just stay tuned to Hail Trace for the most updated information. Of course, you guys know what to do. Follow us on Twitter, X, whatever the heck you want to call it, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and TikTok. Make sure you hit see first so you don't miss any of our live videos. And if any substantial maps are made, we will post those as well as on our Facebook page. So keep an eye out for those as well so that you and your crews are ready to go. And if you would like to learn more about us, would like to get set up with a demo, you can scan that QR code above, and that will get you set up with that. And if you have any questions or concerns, you can call us at 855-334-4245. You can email us at info@hailtrace.com and check out our website at www.hailtrace.com. And I am meteorologist Heather Kay. I hope you all have a great rest of your Friday and a wonderful weekend.